One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. Again, I have done it again. I only found it on ABC News though, and so yeah. But I was right. It is planned. They were planning it, and I predicted it, or prophesied, if you want to use religious terminology. Islamists are planning a Black Friday protest while you're out shopping. Yep. I'm sure it won't get violent whatsoever. Yep. So yeah, law enforcement and intelligence agencies are on high alert. As Ray testified in Congress that, yeah, we're deeply concerned about Islamic terrorism here in America because of the Hamas war against Israel. I warned you. See, this is a holy war, and it involves all Israel, even though it was Hamas that did it. And people are trying to apologize for Hamas by saying that they're not affiliated with other Muslims and Islamists, etc., etc. No. You got to think of it in terms that Mormons can understand, in that it's different wards in this valley and throughout the world, in different countries, in different states. We're all Mormon. We're all united by the manuals of the church. They purposely have tried to streamline the education of Mormons so that it's united for all Mormons to be hypnotized into thinking Jesus and Christian. And so Islam is all united with their Quran and the 5 prayers every day. I always get it mixed up with the 5 points of fellowship. 5 pillars of Islam. The 5 major prayers every day. And Friday is their special day. It's the day that they quote from Muhammad talking about the Day of Judgment. And so here we are, Friday, the Day of Judgment, when Islamists have been calling out for a Day of Judgment. They are furious with Western culture and our shopping spending habits. And so it's not a surprise that they're protesting on the biggest shopping day of the year. Israel believes that Western culture is harming their children, and that we, by just being born in Western culture, are the enemy of Islam, and that we therefore must be destroyed to protect their children. And this religious concept is foreign to Westerners. We don't understand. You know, in America, they're white supremacists, but we can't make the connection with Islamic hate that is inbred generation after generation since Muhammad. And so, yeah, this is yet another confirmation to establish the fact that Islam did indeed have something planned for Black Friday. ABC News is now reporting it. So I warned you, and you didn't believe. And here it is. And so we are all enlisted. It's not by a Mormon, it's by a Christian. So it's one of those Christian extremist songs, as it is pretty militant. Just like Onward Christian Soldiers. Also a Christian hymn. Also in the Mormon hymns. And I did find that. I put it in the note, but there were 12 people who missed that. It was put in the 1985 edition. And Amazing Grace, Emma put out another edition of her 1835 edition and included Amazing Grace in that 1841 edition. And so it's not listed as an actual different edition. It's just she added a couple of songs, and Amazing Grace was one of them. And so Joseph Smith had Amazing Grace for his hymns. This church, no Amazing Grace. And they claim it's not doctrinally correct. I can go over a whole bunch of hymns that are not doctrinally correct. Like every one that claims Jesus is our Christ and that we're Christian. To name a few, just a few. And so, yeah, it was an education today, as I ended up not getting anything that I wanted to get done of myself done. So, I mean, watching movies and TV shows and hearing wars in other countries, it is scary to envision what might happen Friday. That you would actually have Islamists strapped to bombs getting into the crowds protesting, and then kaboom. I hope that won't happen, but it's a holy war to them. They believe in an afterlife, that they will be rewarded for their faithfulness in the holy wars that are commenced against mankind. And so, yeah, they are all soldiers. There is no innocent civilian whatsoever in Islam. And we can't even say Christianity and Mormons too. But the 1985 edition of the hymnal? Yeah, what did I tell you? The Council for National Policy. They joined in the formation of it in 1981. They were there from the beginning of its creation and have been seeking to overthrow the United States government ever since. I can tie them to numerous attempts and attacks on America to overthrow it. Just simply by finding out about the Council for National Policy and knowing that the church was involved from its inception. They literally are the secret combination of America. And so, yeah, the news lately the church has been more brazen to be exposed of their crimes involved to overthrow the government. Because this is it. They're pushing. And so, yeah, it's not a surprise that Senator Lee is back at it again, being ordered by the church to have the multi-pronged attack, not just Islam, but our government, not being removed from government, overthrowing of the Constitution, and states going against the United States Constitution, especially Utah, as they keep pushing to ban porn, and now they've got Brad Wilcox again continuing the fight against porn. And it's sad that people who get suckered into believing that somehow porn is an evil. Have you never looked in the mirror? Have you never gone to a doctor for a full physical? Have you never been married? Had a child? Did you make sure everybody was blindfolded? Did you blindfold your doctor? Did you blindfold your husband? Are you really that obsessed and extremist that you don't even like museums, paintings, sculptures? That you can't make the connection that it's form of art just like a video or a photograph? There is no difference. It's just a different art medium. Do you not understand that you are shaming your own body, not just by shaming other bodies? Do you not understand that you are doing Lucifer's plan that was contrary to God's plan? It's in the scriptures. Go back to the garden. Indagata Davida. Why do you have so much hate? Because the church has fooled you into thinking that you are the enemy, that you are a danger to children, that we can't educate any of us on sex ed, that it has to be abstinence only. You have to pay your tithing to go to the temple, to get married in the temple. Then you can have sex. And then they don't even want you to do contraception or any other forms than having babies. But they had to back off because there was a huge protest in the Mormon church. And why they're so obsessed. Why they won't let it go. Why they just won't stop. Why they just won't focus on teaching Mormons to love. Because when you call out an idol, any form of object, as evil, you're teaching Mormons to hate. You're not teaching Mormons to love. You're not loving another person by trying to take away their agency and belittling them and debasing them and shaming them and guilt-tripping them and hating them and punishing them. It's gotten way out of control. So much so that women who breastfeed are criminals and get locked up here in the state of Utah. It's got to stop. And yet, it's out of control. Nobody will listen to me. So Black Friday, Islamists get their turn to attack. And there will be blood. That's the sad thing. People who are going out trying to get those special sales for the expensive stuff are probably going to die over it. As is what seems to be a tradition for Black Friday. We are sacrificial lambs for capitalism. Oh, dear God. I have never participated in a Black Friday event. I've always stayed at home. Heard about it on the news. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Since it's getting to be time for bed and everything's all wrapping up. So I'm still deciding on which male chick flick to watch for Thanksgiving. It looks like Expendables will be the winner, because I got that finally today. So it's gonna be sad if that's what happens, and knowing that I warned you and you didn't listen, and it happens, and then I'll get people saying, why didn't anybody warn us? I'm just gonna throw up my hands and you're on your own. I'm out of here. Dear God. So, that's it.